Hey there everyone, let's take a look at the charge rifle, how best to use it, and how to be as effective as possible with it. Let's get started. The charge rifle deals exactly 1,150 damage to enemy titans, and if you do hit a glowing red critical hit point, you get a 2.7 times multiplier, meaning that you're going to do 3,105 damage per charge rifle shot critical hit. Versus pilots, you're going to be dealing exactly 500 damage to them, meaning that it's the same damage as a Kraber, and it's going to be a one-shot kill from any range, anywhere on the opponent's body. There's absolutely no range drop-off with this weapon whatsoever. So what are the best ways to use this weapon and be as effective as possible with it? Well, it's kind of good in all sorts of different roles. You can play with it at close range, medium range, and far range versus enemy titans and be, very successful with it. It does good damage and it has no reload, so you never have to deal with that. You never have to worry about it. Just charge it up and fire when you're ready. You can perform, a technique called edging, where you charge it up about 90% of the way and let off your left click or your right trigger, whichever input method you choose, and just kind of let off it, let it lose a little bit of charge, and then hold your trigger or your left mouse again, let it charge back up, and just kind of hold your charge near the point of no return. So when you actually are ready to shoot it, you can just hold down your fire button and it'll be ready to shoot pretty much on command, as opposed to you having to charge it all the way up and wait for it. So if you've ever played the Halo series, then this weapon is basically the Spartan laser. It's great versus both enemy players as well as enemy vehicles, and that creates a perfect corollary to this game, where it's great against both enemy pilots and enemy titans. So this is basically the sniper rifle of all the anti-Titan weapons, and as such it's pretty simple to use, just point and shoot. There's not really much thinking to it other than that. There's no leading your shots. You don't really even need that great of positioning. As long as you're in any kind of spot where you can see an enemy Titan, you can just point at them and shoot this gun and deal pretty significant damage to them. And if they happen to have their shields broken, maybe you'll get a lucky crit every now and then and just deal massive, ridiculous amounts of damage to them. And for those of you watching this looking for tips for your charge rifle crits, for your generation challenges, basically, I never ever go for them on purpose versus enemy titans. I mean, at least versus piloted ones. Now, versus auto titans or enemy titans who are, I know are not very good and are going to tend to stand still a whole lot. I'll go for crits against those in those situations, but if I have just your regular standard enemy, I'm never going to be actually looking for crits. Just let the crits come naturally versus enemy pilots, and when you find auto titans, that's where you want to really focus on getting them, since they're just going to stand completely still most of the time. But the real reason why I find myself using the charge rifle over any other anti-Titan weapon is how amazing it is versus enemy pilots, in particular versus ejecting enemy pilots. This is by far the absolute best weapon to use as a pilot for goosing enemy pilots. It's a hit scan, one-shot kill anywhere on their body. It doesn't zoom in very much when you aim down sights, so if you're trying to follow an ejecting pilot who's moving really quickly, you're not scrambling to keep your aim on them because you're zoomed in really ridiculously far. You have a really short actual zoom in, so you can still keep them well within your sights and track them very easily. Just try and charge up and wait for them to reach the, somewhere near the apex of their ejection, and where they're going to be holding, essentially, really close to holding still, and you've got absurdly easy kills on them. So I love using it just for that, and I'm probably going to have some clips of that, coming out maybe in a montage sometime soon, wink wink, so we'll see about that. Anyways, hope you guys have found this useful. Hope you guys found it helpful. Please like and subscribe if you're so inclined. If not, that's okay too. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.